Good afternoon, everybody. Well, I guess I'm still doing another Revisit Edition movie review. And this time, if you already saw the title and thumbnail, I am going to be covering Pete's Dragon. And yes, I have previously covered this movie before, a few months ago, and well, I guess I decided to give it its Revisit Edition treatment. Just like with my other movie reviews, like Detective Pikachu, Scooby-Doo Stage Fright, Scoob, Space Jam 2 New Legacy, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and so many more. Now, if you guys have already saw my original review of this movie on DVD, I just assumed that you guys might have seen my original review of this movie before. But just in case you need a little bit of a recap on what this movie is all about, Pete's Dragon is a heartwarming musical adventure filled with thrilling plot twists and is now fully restored. A family adventure a family favorite, this film is a delightful blend of live action and Disney animation. Pete, a young orphan, runs away from his guardians to a Maine fishing town with his best friend, a lovable but sometimes invisible dragon named Elliot. Things look brighter when Pete and Elliot are taken in by a kind lighthouse keeper, Nora, played by Helen Reddy, and her father, the legendary Mickey Rooney. But Elliot's prank lands Pete in trouble with the townsfolk. The adventure goes further awry when crooked salesman tries to capture Elliot for their own gain. Uh-oh! I smell trouble! Now it's up to Pete to rescue his magical friend, and in the process, he discovers the real meaning of friendship. Aww. And family, too. Bring home this Disney classic filled with Oscar-nominated songs, splendid storytelling, and gigantic fun. Well, the description isn't wrong about that. So after giving this movie its Revisit Edition treatment, I can still see how and why Pete's Dragon continues to be a very delightful Disney film made almost 49 years ago. And yes, as of 2026 of right now, I think the film turns 46 probably sometime around maybe later this year. And I'm guessing around 2027 the film will turn 50 years old. But anyways, like I said in my original review of Pete's Dragon, it's a great story with a beginning, middle, and end. Elliot's animation design is still fantastic. I mean, while he is a dragon, he's kind of a cartoony type dragon. The villains are still so well done, well written. Mainly the Hoagie family. The songs are still quite entertaining too. It's a razzle dazzle day. And seeing both Pete and Elliot spend some quality time with each other is just heartwarming. I probably said this before in my original review, but you can always relate to these two. Two misfit buddies trying to fit in with the world while dealing with all sorts of wacky shenanigans along the way. Now, I think, like I stated in my original review of this movie does take place around Maine, which is quite an interesting location to film a Disney movie. I mean, how many Disney movies or TV shows do you know, besides Pete's Dragon, that takes place in around Maine? Okay, to be honest, I can't think of any Disney film or TV show that takes place around Maine. And I guess whenever you think of the town Maine, you always think of a certain Stephen King horror movie or something. Like the movie It, or for example. Now, well, think about it. Back in the 70s, live action and animated hybrid films were still starting to become like an interesting process in the movie making business. I mean, this type of process probably dates back to the 30s and 40s, because I think Warner Brothers also did something similar with this with some of their cartoons. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in my original review of Pete's Dragon or not. So consider this the first time I'm mentioning it here. Like I said in my original review, it is so nice to see Elliot and Pete hang out with each other in the movie. And yes, I guess Elliot's trying his best to be on his best behavior when they're trying to arrive to this new town, Saskatchewan. A fisherman town in Maine. Well, doing his own type of wacky shenanigans. I mean, granted, he is just a dragon and doesn't know any better. He's kind of like a little child in a dragon's body. Okay, that sounds a little bit odd out of context. It is quite a groundbreaking movie. I am aware that Elliot the Dragon would make a few cameos in Disney's House on Mouse, and he even appeared in Disney's Once Upon a Studio short film, to celebrate the studio's 100th anniversary. I might leave a link to that video down in the description down below, so you guys can check it out for yourselves. Same thing for what happened when I reviewed The Black Cauldron earlier this year. So I'm guessing House on Mouse and Disney's Once Upon a Studio short are like the closest we ever get to a second and third Pete's Dragon movie. Okay, maybe to you guys those technically don't count as sequels, rather their own separate things in general, which that is technically true. But you know what, I'll probably count them as sequels, even if most people might not agree with me. And think about it, back in the 70s, they didn't use any CGI special effects. I think for most of the time, they probably used like blue screen effects, for when Elliot's trying to lift up Pete, and some shots to make it look like Elliot was picking him up, even though he wasn't really there. It shows how groundbreaking the technology the filmmakers used back in the 70s when they were working on Pete's Dragon. Because like I said, I think blue screen and green screen effects were still a thing back in the 70s, and they didn't use any CGI effects. Because I'm pretty sure CGI effects probably didn't exist until maybe the mid to late 90s or something, when Warner Brothers was working on Mars Attacks. Well, I should really cover that movie someday. Okay, I'm getting off topic here. This movie does have a good lesson about friendship and family. Yeah, no one shouldn't be left behind or abandoned, no matter how stressful things can get, And this movie really shows it. Now, I think I might have mentioned this before in my original review, but I'm not sure what the cast and crew behind Pete's Dragon are doing right now. I don't know if they're still working on more TV shows and movies after working on Pete's Dragon, or maybe some of them probably retired or something. I'm not fully sure, cause well, granted, I wasn't even born when this movie was made. But I'm just gonna take a wild guess. I'm just gonna take a wild guess and say that half of the cast and crew probably retired from acting or working on movies in general, while the other half are like still in the movie making business till this very day as I'm filming this Revisit Edition review. I will admit there were times where the adults were a little bit skeptical about Elliot being real, even though Mickey Rooney plays this fisherman who was a little kind of drunk, and well, he kind of accidentally stumbled across Elliot the dragon and freaked out when he found out that he was real. I'm not sure if I already mentioned this in my original review or not, so you guys can just let me know if I did or not. But anyways, it is still cute that Elliot and Pete are still hanging out with each other in this movie. Especially during the grand finale when Elliot tries his best to save Pete from his abusive hillbilly family and the shady salesman who wanted to capture Elliot for their own personal gain. I mean, it shows how strong their friendship is. I mean, Elliot is kind of like Batman to Pete. I'm just saying. So overall, Pete's Dragon is still a fun Disney movie for all fans alike. And I'm actually glad I gave it its Revisit Edition review. And if you guys haven't picked up a VHS or DVD copy of this movie, go right ahead because you guys will love it. Although I am not sure if this movie is like streaming on Disney Plus or Hulu. I'm not very sure because I haven't used Hulu in a long time, and I don't use Disney Plus at all. Same with HBO Max, to be honest. So just let me know if this movie is like streaming on Disney Plus and or Hulu at some point. But anyways, thank you guys so much for checking out this Revisit Edition review of Pete's Dragon. And I'll give this movie 5 dragon head. Sorry for the stuttering. I'll give this movie 5 dragon heads out of 5. Since this movie still proves to be phenomenal, no matter what.